Greece and Rome gods of money. Plutus, the blind god of wealth. Welcome back. I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and this is the Gods of Money series. Every civilization has told stories about wealth, not simply as numbers or possessions, but as something alive, a force, a current, a presence that blesses some and ignores others. In ancient Greece, this force was personified in a god called Plutus. His story is not one of grandeur and glory, like Zeus or Apollo. Instead, he is depicted as a fragile child, often blind, sometimes carried in the arms of other deities. It may seem strange that the Greeks, who built such monumental myths, would render wealth so vulnerable. But that choice reveals how they understood money, as unpredictable, fragile, and often distributed without fairness. Plutus, in his blindness, became the embodiment of wealth's randomness, a lesson as sharp today as it was 2,500 years ago. The earliest account of Plutus's birth comes from the poet Hesiod, one of Greece's oldest storytellers. In his Theogony and Works and Days, Hesiod places Plutus as the son of Demeter, the goddess of grain and agriculture, and the mortal Iasion. The myth says Demeter lay with Iasion in a thrice-plowed field, and from that union came Plutus. This detail is important. He is born not from the heavens, but from the soil, from the rhythm of human labor and the bounty of the earth. His mother is divine, tying him to the fertility of nature. His father is mortal, tying him to human effort and desire. Plutus is therefore not abstract coinage, not imagined wealth floating in markets, but the living abundance of crops, harvests, and sustenance. He is wealth in its most primal form: food security, agricultural plenty, the surplus that allowed cities to grow. From this beginning, Plutus carried both promise and paradox. On one hand, he represented prosperity, the overflowing of the fields, the fullness of barns and granaries. On the other, he embodied the capriciousness of fortune. One harvest might thrive, another fail, and no human could guarantee the difference. The Greeks turned this uncertainty into personification: a child of Demeter and Iasion, a child of abundance, but fragile and unpredictable. Artists and writers portrayed Plutus in ways that reinforced this sense of vulnerability. Unlike mighty Zeus with his thunderbolt, or Athena armored for war, Plutus appears small, often as an infant. The painter Cephisodotus sculpted Irene, the goddess of peace, cradling Plutus in her arms. This statue, once displayed in the Athenian agora, showed wealth as dependent on peace, a child that thrives only when nurtured by stability. In times of war and turmoil, the child would be dropped or lost. This imagery was powerful propaganda. It reminded Athenians that prosperity did not come from conquest alone, but from the fertile ground of peace and order. Without those conditions, Plutus could not grow. But Plutus was not only fragile, he was also blind. This blindness became his defining feature, especially in literature. In Aristophanes' comedy Plutus, written in 388 BCE, the god appears as a blind beggar wandering the streets. The protagonist, Cremulus, complains that wealth goes to the wrong people. The wicked are rich, the virtuous are poor. When he encounters Plutus and realizes he is blind, everything makes sense. Wealth is not distributed by merit or morality. It stumbles randomly, rewarding scoundrels and ignoring the worthy. In the play, Cremulus restores Plutus's sight, hoping to redirect riches to the good and punish the corrupt. But the attempt creates chaos, upending the social order. Aristophanes ends the comedy with satire. Wealth distributed by virtue is a fantasy. In reality, Plutus is blind, and blind he will remain. This allegory stuck. To say Plutus is blind is to acknowledge that fortune has no eyes for justice. A thief may prosper while an honest man starves. A gambler may win while a scholar suffers. Wealth is not a divine reward for morality. It is a current that flows unpredictably. The Greeks, who were always concerned with justice, virtue, and ethics, found this truth deeply unsettling. And so, they made a god who carried it as his permanent condition. The blindness carried another implication. Wealth cannot see where it goes. It might enter one household, leave another, circulate without pattern. This metaphor is still alive today. We speak of blind luck, of fortune smiling, of money landing in your lap. We resent that billionaires inherit fortunes while laborers scrape by. We watch lotteries anoint winners without regard for merit. These are all Plutus stories, retold in modern language. His blindness remains one of the most enduring metaphors for wealth's unfairness. The philosophers wrestled with Plutus's meaning. Socrates, as recorded by Xenophon, warned against the pursuit of wealth for its own sake, saying it corrupts the soul. Aristotle made distinctions between natural wealth, resources necessary for living, and unnatural accumulation, money that grows endlessly without purpose. In both cases, wealth was seen as dangerous if misunderstood. Plutus embodied that danger. He was not a guiding god of wisdom or morality, but a symbol of unpredictability, of accumulation without justice. To honor him was not necessarily to praise him, but to acknowledge the reality he represented. Yet Plutus was still invoked in cult and ritual. His image appeared in temples, his name in hymns, his figure in art. In Athens, coins bore symbols of abundance, echoing his presence even if not naming him directly. Farmers prayed for him when planting. Merchants thanked him when trade prospered. His role was ambiguous, not beloved like Athena, not feared like Hades, but necessary, unavoidable, woven into the fabric of economic life. Everyone wanted Plutus, even as they distrusted him. As Greek religion blended into Roman culture, Plutus retained his essence but merged into new forms. The Romans already had Fortuna, goddess of luck, and Ops, goddess of abundance. Plutus's identity often blurred with Pluto, another name for Hades, whose domain of the underworld was filled with the riches of the earth: gold, silver, gems. The overlap of Plutus and Pluto reveals a profound association between death and wealth. To the ancients, treasure came from beneath, from mines, from the soil, from the underworld itself. Riches were literally extracted from the realm of the dead. That is why Hades, dreaded as the god of death, was also called Pluton, the giver of wealth. Plutus, as personification of prosperity, lived in that shadow. The legacy of Plutus traveled far beyond antiquity. In medieval and Renaissance Europe, he appears in literature as a symbol of greed and wealth's corruption. Dante, in his Inferno, places Plutus as the guardian of the fourth circle of hell, where the greedy and the prodigal are punished. Dante calls him a great enemy, a demonic figure babbling nonsense, the embodiment of wealth gone mad. Here, the blind child of Greek comedy has hardened into a monster of Christian morality, but the theme remains the same. Wealth is perilous, wealth is blinding, wealth leads astray. Even the word plutocracy, meaning rule by the wealthy, comes from Plutus's name. A plutocracy is a society governed by money, where riches, not merit, dictate power. The term carries suspicion, echoing the unease Greeks felt about wealth's blind distribution. Plutus gave his name to a concept that still critiques modern politics and economics. Why did the Greeks make their god of wealth blind, weak, and dependent? Perhaps because they knew wealth is never fully under human control. Crops fail, ships sink, markets collapse. Prosperity arrives but can vanish without reason. By showing Plutus as a child carried by peace, they acknowledged that wealth survives only under the right conditions. By showing him blind, they explained why scoundrels sometimes thrive and heroes starve. By linking him to Demeter's harvest, they rooted wealth in nature's cycles, unpredictable and beyond human command. Plutus is not Zeus, commanding thunder. He is not Athena, guiding wisdom. He is wealth itself, fragile, unpredictable, capricious, yet desired by all. In his small figure, the Greeks compressed an enormous truth. Prosperity is both blessing and burden, both nourishment and hazard, both the lifeblood of cities and the source of endless conflict. When you look at a lottery ticket, a casino floor, a market crash, or an unexpected inheritance, you are looking at Plutus's legacy. He is the god who never guaranteed fairness, who distributed riches without reason, who reminded mortals that money, like fate, is beyond their grasp. The Greeks, with their genius for myth, captured in him what economists still struggle to explain: why wealth flows where it does, why it resists justice, why it blinds as much as it blesses. Plutus remains an uncomfortable god. He is not celebrated with hymns or statues today, but his presence is everywhere, in the randomness of fortune, in the fragility of prosperity, in the blindness of wealth's distribution. To know him is to know how the ancients saw money not as neutral numbers, but as a living, unpredictable force. And that knowledge, preserved through myth, still shapes how we speak of fortune today. Welcome back. I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and this is the Manifestation series, where we don't just talk about manifesting, we master it. Because let's be honest, manifestation has been watered down, reduced to vague quotes, mood boards, and empty promises. But you didn't come here to wish. You came here to build a reality that hits different. A reality that responds to your frequency, your language, your alignment, and your decision to stop playing small. This series is not fluff. It's physics, frequency, and fierce creative power. Inside the Manifestation series, you're going to learn how to collapse timelines, shift identities, and speak worlds into existence, just like the greatest minds in history. This isn't just about being positive. This is about being powerful. Here's what you unlock inside. Vision to reality, the vision board course. You've heard about vision boards, but you've never done them like this. This is a full energetic ritual, a precision-coded map for your subconscious, designed to bridge image, frequency, and strategy. It's not arts and crafts. It's blueprinting your future in visual form and turning it into matter. Time, quantum timelines, and why time isn't real. Manifestation doesn't take time. It takes alignment. In this module, I'll show you how time is just a mirror of energy and how to collapse timelines using choice, clarity, and vibration. Past, present, future, they're happening now. And when you know how to navigate time quantum style, you stop waiting and start receiving. Quantum jumping, instantly up level. Your next level life isn't years away. It's one decision away. In this training, you'll learn how to quantum jump, how to shift into a version of you that already has what you desire. This isn't fantasy. It's how high-performance creators, athletes, and spiritual masters leap beyond limits. Jump now. Land in power. Every word. The power of affirmations and spoken language. Words build worlds. In this course, I show you how to use affirmations like spell work, not just repeating empty mantras, but speaking with vibration, intention, and spiritual force. If you've ever felt like affirmations don't work, this will change everything. You'll learn to command your field, not just request from it. The greats, learning from the most exceptional minds in history. We're not the first to master this. In this legendary module, we decode the techniques, habits, and quantum genius of the world's most powerful manifestors, from ancient sages to modern icons. You'll learn how to think like the greats, move like the greats, and manifest like the greats. This isn't another feel-good series. This is a spiritual weapon, disguised as a manifestation course. It's made for leaders, cycle breakers, visionaries, and soul builders. You don't need another wish list. You need a system that teaches you how to bend reality. This is that system. So if you're ready to stop playing with potential and start creating results, welcome to your next level. The manifestation series is open now. You know what to do. Let's build what they said was impossible and make it inevitable.